tell you right now, that's the problem with this country. The fact that they can't work together to figure things out or come together and listen to the people.
Yeah.
A lot of these Democrats have the same issue with their constituents. They feel the same way we do. They've had enough and they're ready to get back to work. So they're clearly not representing their constituents. And this is why I have an issue with both the Republican and the Democrat Party. They're both evil, and they both need voted out, every one of them. And I know that there's good people, and I've been attacked on this, that I've said about term limits and things like that. And they say, well, what happens when you get a good person in? What happens when we have somebody that's doing really good things, and now all of a sudden you're going to send them out? Well, that's the way it should work, because in my outside looking in view of doing this, and FYI, I've done this for about 5 years, meetings on Capitol Hill, and it's always the same thing. The longer they're there, the more they become disconnected from their constituents.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
And it's every single one of them. It's every single one of them.
That's true.
Yes. And it's my personal belief that, and I think it's what was intended. I could be wrong, but my personal belief for sure is that it's a civic duty to go serve your country in that manner, to go and represent your constituents, but it was never meant to be a career, at least not in one level. It was meant to go serve and then go back and work your farms, or go back and work your factory, go home.
Right.
Go home and work your 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call it, your 12 to 12, whatever job. Go back to we'll call it civilian life, and get out of public service and go back to your civilian life, and your career is at home, not in Washington D.C. as a politician. Now, I don't have a problem with any of them coming up through the ranks, maybe state legislation or community, and working their way up through, and then maybe one day running for president. I don't have a problem if somebody makes a career out of that, experiencing all the different levels of government, especially if there's somebody that's good. But all those levels should have those term limits, for sure. And that's my belief. And there's a lot of reasons why they shouldn't have them. There's a lot of, that argument's pretty big. But that's not representation of the People's Convoy.
Well, I agree 100%.
That's Brian Brase that feels that way.
I agree 100%.
I have a question for you. I'm from Canada. I'm Mark. Okay. I'm a truck driver, and I have a question for you. If the government is supposed to work for us, okay, why they don't show up over here?
So there's a couple reasons for that. One, we actively work at getting them down here. That's usually our first. That's how we set up our meetings first. Is we try to get them to come down here. A lot of it is because of how far away from DC we are. They got votes, they got other things going on, but then there's also security concerns from different offices. Some of them take the security more serious than others, and they have different levels. Ted Cruz came out, and that's a win. He came out here. Do we want more coming out here? Absolutely.
Jim Jordan out here.
Jim Jordan actually talks about coming out here as well. It's something that there's other things at play when it comes to getting them down here. Do we want them down here? Absolutely. Do we try to get them down here? Absolutely. But we're also not going to turn away a meeting with a Democrat because he won't come down here. We need House Democrats.
They supposed to be here. They supposed to come over here. You're not supposed to go around circles and circles. It's getting to the straight point. Transparency, right?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
all. That this is all about. So, true is true. You're supposed to wait here for them to come, not coming, around the.
If we don't put pressure on the Beltway, they'll never know we're here.
Over here, they vote for us. Yeah. So bring it.
You're not wrong in what you're saying. You're not wrong in what you're saying. But they will never come here without us putting pressure on them. Unfortunately, that's the situation we're in. You are absolutely right. They should come to us. 100% I agree with you. 100% I agree that going around the Beltway is wasting time and money.
What happened?
I don't agree. Actually, let me rephrase. I don't agree it's wasting money, because are we burning through money doing it? Absolutely. But I don't think it's a waste, because we have to do that in order to let the world know that we're here. We have to continue to put DC Metropolitan on high alert, blocking exits. We have to continue doing those things in order to get the attention, to let DC know we're still here and we ain't going nowhere. We don't have a choice. This is what we have to do. Now, I understand that's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. But welcome to America, man. That's what we're going through. That's what it is. And I'll say this. I love Canada. I love everything they did. But their politicians didn't step foot out of the Capitol building, and they were sitting on their front door. At least we got some meetings going on. And I'll tell you that right now, that's a win. And we're doing good things. And we're getting those things because we're out on the Beltway doing what we're doing. That's why we're getting the meetings that we're getting. That's the facts.
That's right.
You guys are going to lose the time, you know. You have to invent something.
That's why right now we're trying to rally at the state levels and then get everybody at the state capitals across the country at the same time that we're doing what we're doing. It's very important that we put the pressure onto the state levels. The fight right now, honestly, is at the state level, but we have to stay here and keep putting pressure here at the same time. So what we're doing, that is the change. That is the next step.
Don't they say
is
the
getting the
wheels of
state.
justice move slowly?
Slowly.
We have to show our
That's
endurance.
time.
Yes.
That's
You want to say something?
Stick it out.
I was just gonna say that when he talked about us not getting results, I would just disagree. In Shake Shack, when I got attacked by an Antifa, all the employees knew what the convoy was about. When I said that we're fighting for you, they're fighting for you guys, you say, yeah, they're fighting for us. They all know what's going on. People in DC know what's going on. It may not look like it, but they do know what's going on. So we are getting results because they showed up in DC.
And the reason why DC Metro keeps shutting down the exits, the exact words were, we're afraid of Ottawa.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
For
their
sure.
exact words.
Oh yeah.
We're afraid of Ottawa.
We got them on the run.
We can't just occupy DC like Ottawa.
Yeah, it's a little different here.
We're doing it a little slower.
And if we
Trying to do
do,
it diplomatically first.
and if we do start parking it, that's that ammunition.
Mess with that money chain.
Oh, they're impeding.
And it might have to get to that point eventually, but right now, again, diplomatic first.
Yeah, right.
So you mentioned that congressmen do not want to talk until the midterm. Are there any plans to get them to talk before the midterm, since the midterm's still so far out away?
Pressure at the state level. Start pressuring the states as much as we can. Even their offices in their states, in their districts, go to their offices and you know, I'm hoping that we can get some kind of rally cry out that basically gets people to flood the offices with phones and emails and everything else in their state office as well as here in DC. And then of course just literally do the same thing we're doing here, but do it on the capital of their state. People need to go there and not go away. And I hope, my hope is that by doing so, the state themselves will be saying, you need to talk to these people now, please. We need your help. And then that way, hopefully it would provoke them to actually break the mold and reach across the aisle. It's not just the Republicans, it's the Democrats too. And the Democrats aren't doing crap. They're not working across the aisle at all. They're happy they have the power and they're doing everything they can to hold on to it. And the Republicans are just saying, well, be careful who you vote for. This is what happens when you put them in power. And that's how they're acting, that's how they're treating it. And honestly, it's just a disgusting display of American politics.
At the moment, do we know how many states are getting together at the moment to go up to their capital?
Well, they're just now starting to put them together. There's a couple dates going on. There was talk about how we should all do it on the same date. Then there were talks about everybody's doing their own thing. You know, personally, as long as they're going there to occupy it in a way that they don't go away until they get what they're heard, it doesn't matter what date, because eventually, I mean, hopefully not, but eventually, more than likely, we'll all be doing it at the same exact time anyways. As far as what states or dates, they're all that information is just now starting to come in. So I know Ohio has 2 different dates planned with people. The first one is more of just a one-day rally. The other one is like a Hagerstown style, what we're doing. And then I heard it yesterday before I left Ohio with the people I met in Ohio before convoying out here.
Awesome. Hey, where are you at from Ohio?
Northwest Ohio.
Brian.
Okay, I don't know where that's at.
Brian, Ohio. This is an hour west.
Okay, you're further west than me.
Anyways, but what's the date on the rally there?
I believe the first one's like April 1st or something, and then the second one, I don't remember offhand. Yeah. So the states, I know that there's, if you guys remember that Kip guy from the other convoy that came into us, he's currently rallying across the South with different states, getting state leaders put in place. And I think the Northwest he's getting involved in too, getting some people together. There's a guy named Chuck Biddles, call him Chucky. He's in California. I know he's trying to get California, geared up. He needs some help in California though. So anybody out in California, get a hold of Chuck Biddles, Biddles, Chuck Biddles. He's trying to get California together. He's having a heck of a time right now, which I guess isn't much of a surprise with California, but he's trying actively to get that going. So it's what I would like to do, what I saw in my head at least, was to put together like a packet, a how-to packet, or in the military we call it SOPs, standard operating procedures. I'd like to put something like that together that basically says, here's the date, here's how, here's the permit filing process, here's contacts for your local law enforcement, because we want to make sure it's peaceful. We want to make sure we're law-abiding and peaceful about it, but we do need to make a stand. But the same thing here diplomatically needs to be done diplomatically there. They'll use January 6th in Ottawa against us every step of the way, no matter where we're at in the country. So they'll keep using that against us over and over and over again.
Two things really quick. With what you were saying there, is there a way we could get a contact or something? Because I get a lot of emails that people are organizing and they want to get that message out to everybody, so it can be announced at either in the evening or the morning, what dates in town, so that way they are organizing and gives them a little help. If we could do something like that, I think that would be really good for the people in the States.
So,
well, not even a contact point, just here, read this off for all the live streamers. I mean, we don't need to be involved in their organizing, but just something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to think on that one. I think that would be okay. I got to kind of look, I got to be careful on, I don't want to tell people, and don't take this the wrong way, and I'm not saying this is going to happen or is happening, so please, people in the world, don't take it this way. But even with the planning of the American convoys, there was scammers out there. There were people that were taking advantage of others and stealing money. There was money stolen from one of the convoys. They're talking $13,000 went missing from something. Luckily it had nothing to do with us, but that convoy, disbanded when I got a call yesterday that they got to Indiana and all of a sudden we're told, go home. And they disbanded everybody in Indiana. And never even came, but then they took off with the money. Now, I don't know what's true, what's not out of all of that. This is hearsay. I don't have any proof of nothing. But my problem with going out and saying, so-and-so is organizing Pennsylvania, get with so-and-so. And then I just stood there and I just told everybody in Pennsylvania or surrounding states that want to get involved in Pennsylvania to go support this person in their planning. And then they go and scam everybody or take advantage of people or they just don't have it in them to actually follow through with it. They become overwhelmed and then they let it implode. Then we lose Pennsylvania from doing it because we didn't give the chance to someone else who's also trying to do Harrisburg. And then they got black, because it happened to us, man. We had people in different states trying to organize states, and they were good people, but someone else came in and said, oh no, I'm the one doing this. I'm doing this. And they blasted that person and made that person feel like they were a fraud, like told people that person was a fraud, and they weren't. And then we lost, 100 trucks that person had with them, or 100 cars or campers, because of doing that, because of saying, this is the person organizing. That's why I stood on stage and I said, listen, there's going to be multiple people in your state wanting to plan and put something together. That's okay. Follow the person that you believe the most in. Do your research like you should be on your politicians. Make sure this person's legit. Hold them accountable for the things that they say and do. But then also, as organizers of any states, work with the other organizers of the states and come to a consensus. If neither of you want to do the dates that, if you two are arguing on dates, then pick a date in between. Find a neutral date in between. You're just gonna have to work together, and I don't want to. I get what you're saying, and I get trying to get the word out, but I can't. I wouldn't feel right standing there and saying so and so. You know, I did it for California for Chuck Biddles because I go back 5 years with Chucky. You know what I mean? I go back 5-6 years with Chucky. I know his heart. I know that man's heart. That's why I said it. That doesn't make him the guy in California by any means, but it makes one of the guys that I trust in California. The thing is you can't. You know how crappy I would feel if I found out that somebody that I said was, this is a legit person, follow this person's organizing this state, and then they either A, ran off with a ton of money because they did a bunch of fundraising for whatever reason, or B, they didn't have good intentions from the very beginning, and the whole idea was because they were against us. Haha, watch what I do to these people.
Yeah.
Or 3, they are somebody that maybe is a bit extreme on one side of the aisle or the other, and they lead people into a slaughter because they go nuts and do something crazy. You know what I mean? Right. I can't, I can't do that. I want to be able to say, here's this person, here's this person, here's this person. But I don't want that on my conscience if that person's bad. And I'm not saying,
And to kind of lead off of that, has a convoy, is it like possibly on the table at some point where we see like these governors that are starting to fire cops again and nurses that the convoy picks up and leaves and say, hey, we're going to Chicago, the mayor over Chicago just let go of 140 officers, we want those officers back. Is that something that the convoy would look into in the future?
I think all options are on the table. I think all options are on the table. I mean, to say no is wrong, in my opinion. I think all options are on the table. I mean, we're here to end the mandates and start and try and demand some accountability. But it doesn't mean that if they're doing, if Mayo Clinic in Rochester lets go of like 1,000 nurses because they won't get vaccinated, it doesn't mean we wouldn't go up there and make a stand. I would encourage the state to do so first. But if they're not, maybe another convoy across the country to some of these harder hit places might be the way to go. All options are on the table. All options are on the table.
Brian?
So if you are in any country and you've had enough of this, stand up now. Stand up, get a hold of us. We'll help get the word out that you're doing it. And send the videos, send the links, send whatever you can, and we'll try to get coverage for that too, and help in any way that we can. To Canada, thank you so much for everything you guys did. You spearheaded this whole thing. You got us to wake up, and we love you and have nothing but respect for you. Australia, New Zealand, you got a hard fight ahead of you. They're doing some really messed up things there. I've heard a lot of the stories already. You got it, I'm pretty sure, worse than Canada or the United States, that's for sure. And so your country, probably more than any others right now, needs to stand up. Don't let them intimidate you. That's what they're trying to do to you right now. Don't let them intimidate you. Stand strong. I doubt they'll let me fly to your country, but I would come and help if I could. So God bless everybody around the world that's ready to stand up and do what you got to do, and we got you. We got your back.